Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
it was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But, to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just that, man, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like, he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's just so cool to see. And it was fun to watch. And, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those. One of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Bruton, once he took over Rich McCann, and still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then kind of make us do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers at wide receiver, Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we go. Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell is everybody? Doom and gloom? Clouds are gray? In Tampa Bay, is that what we're understanding? Is that what the word on the streets is? Well, word on the streets is Tom Moore, Gene Deckeroff, and Mike Evans are out of the building now in Tampa Bay. Maybe Levante going to join him soon. Holy smokes, how the hell are the Bucs going to recover? Remember one thing, time heals all Bucs fans. So let's sit back, relax, and see where the rest of the offseason takes us. We're joined by two awesome people here to break down the busy day in the National Football League today. First and foremost, the man, the myth, the legend, half of Real Bucs Talk, the great Michael Plus, one of my great friends. Plus, welcome in, brother. How the hell you doing? We were on JCL and Spaces yesterday, and we kind of, all alluded to Mike probably leaving. I had to play heel, said why the hell he would stay. I was dead wrong. A lot of y'all were right. Here we are. Mike Evans is across the country in California.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be back on here with you guys. I mean, Mike Evans is, obviously a Hall of Famer. He's a legend for Buccaneers history, all-time great Buccaneer. But at the end of the day, I think you have to look at it from both sides. And I've talked about this on Real Bucs Talk. It's, you drafted Emeka Egbuka for a reason. You brought him in on a first round, pick. You re-signed Chris Godwin last year. You drafted Jalen McMillan the year before. So you have that, plus Tez Johnson. And I'm not saying it's not going to be a loss with Mike Evans going elsewhere. It's obviously going to hurt the offense. He's one of one, a really great player, still plays at a high level. But at the end of the day, Mike made a choice, and we can get into like, Todd Bowles, the offense coordinator, Zach Robinson, Baker Mayfield, all of that. But I think when you look at it from a business standpoint, the Bucs, I think, were preparing for this. They already kind of knew where Mike was leaning. Mike wanted a different challenge, and I think he spoke about this as well. It's more so about his legacy, and he wants to he went to a team that he thought had a better opportunity to win a championship. I mean, that could be questionable as well because 49ers, again, they have dealt with a lot of injuries. They dealt with it last year, but they were still able to make the playoffs. And the way the Bucs season went downhill towards the latter half, that played a role. But I think I'm excited for Mike. Again, I wish him nothing but the best. I don't think you can go into this being mad at Mike Evans. Like, that's not the way to do it. I think you celebrate him, celebrate what you had with him during this 12-year run. That was incredible. I mean, to go 11 straight seasons with 1,000 yards, win a championship as well, and just be, ultra consistent. And then on top of that, I'll just say I wish I was an agent because these guys are making mad money, man. Mad money everywhere. And another thing is the Bucs got one of the targets I talked about in Alex Anzalone, and they had a surprise in Kenneth Gainwell. So I think overall, yes, I know the mood is down because you're losing a legend, obviously a fan favorite. But I will just say you're a fan of the name on the front instead of the name on the back. But I get it. It's a big time player.
Yeah, I think Plus summed it up greatly there. One of the big blows in Tampa sports history. Losing Evans feels like Stamkos, but I will say the Bucs did try. We'll talk about that. Things they could have maybe done differently before we get the great Bucs by 30 in here. The chat is popping. B-Shuck in the house. J-Lo here. Loose Cannon Vixen. We love our lady listeners. Welcome in. Loose Cannon's Vixen. Brent here to say what's up, y'all. Our guy, Buck and Mullet. Jay Edwards in the house saying, fire everyone. Fire the damn cannons. That's what we'll do. We will do that. Vixen saying can't be mad at that. Sucks, but I get it in accordance to what Plus had to say. It's a tough day. It is a tough day indeed. And showing some love is Jay. Olive in the house. What's up, Olive? Love to have you. Yeah, we're excited about Blonde Jesus Anzalone as well. We'll get into him here shortly. But Zach, before we get into Blonde Jesus, we did have a guy depart by the name of Michael Himothy Evans, which hits deep, but for you, for me, for a lot of Bucs fans, brother.
Yeah, man, everything sucks and nothing matters anymore. Life as we know it is officially over, and no Sunday will ever feel the same. So I'm going to take the opposite stance of Pless. Pless came in with optimism and hope, and I'm going to drag it down with pessimism and despair. No, just kidding. I respect the move. It is, in my opinion, a really bad look, though, when your franchise face of the organization chooses to leave when it didn't come down to money, right? Because you look at the deal that he signed, and it wasn't about money. He made a choice, and I respect the choice, and he deserves to make that choice. But I think it really speaks to the current status of the organization, and that it's not rainbows and sunshine. There's something in the culture that he didn't find to be conducive to the rest of his legacy, and that is concerning to me.
Is it contradicting, though, we think, before we get Joey in here? Because Levante David is on record for saying the only reason he's even considering a comeback is Todd Bowles and him returning to Tampa, right? So he is defensive player, obviously, so he has a defensive mindset. And I'm not knocking Mike. That's very evident. He chose to leave for reasons, and the reasons probably are Shanahan is a great head coach. San Fran has some good things going, but that's a little weird contradiction to me, fellas. Levante said he's only willing to play because Bowles is here. We'll see what happens there. Evans does leave. Loose Cannon Vixen and Bonomo showing love to the Blonde Jesus comment. Joey, how the hell are you doing? Thoughts on Evans? Mixed day for the Colts. We're going to get into the Colts and all their moves here in a bit. How do you feel about that? Thoughts on Mike Evans?
I mean, being close, I'm about as close as it gets to a big time Bucs fan without trying to be with Tones and my pop supporting both teams. So I've seen plenty of Mike Evans, and I've never had a bad thing to say about the man. One of the true professionals in the National Football League. To me, actually, another guy we were going to talk about eventually, Michael Pittman, he kind of followed some of his suit with just being the ultimate professional and getting things done. But Evans has a Hall of Fame career on top of all that. And it sure stinks. Now, here's what I've always said about this, and I don't care how you slice it. To me, if he was truly just trying to win, I've said it now, I'll say it then. What team did I say, Tones? Kansas City would be the only team that if you're trying to actually go win and be better, because Kansas City has been there over the past few years. Buffalo hasn't been there. Baltimore hasn't been there. So Kansas City, to me, was the only team you could truly say, I'm going to get better, have a better chance to win, because the Bucs are in a division that's also worse. That's not their fault, and things of that nature. So San Fran's interesting to me. I get it. They've been in 2 Super Bowls, even though they've lost both. But the quarterback position is definitely not more stable to me. Maybe the money, I don't know what could have been done there with that. But at the end of the day, he's in the tooth of his career later on. He got paid. I don't think he'll ever play out that 3-year deal. It'll probably be 2 years or something. But, hey, good for him. He got what he could. And San Fran, maybe he feels like is his best chance to win, because Kyle Shanahan is a great coach. But at the same time, if you look at the Bucs receiver room, look at them bringing back K-Dot, and they have more holes to fill. We talk about
Let's is happy about Cade.
Yeah, and hey, 1 year compared to some of the other deals, not terrible. I never mind a 1-year deal, even if it's more expensive. So Bucs have to solve pass rush. If they don't solve pass rush, I don't like moves like this as much. But if at the end of this free agency / the draft, we're looking at a guy in that locker room who can get 10+ sacks in a season, then I'm fine with this all. But we'll see where it takes us. But just from a standpoint, great guy, great everything. Evans is the man.
He sure is, and we're going to do an around the horn here in a minute. Well said there, Joey, as an outsider. That's why I like your perspective as well, because Bucs aren't your top choice. So those great words about Mike Evans are very meaningful. J-Lo said we got Thor at linebacker. Well, let's hope he could cover like Thor could. That would be nice. Patrick saying it was better at first. I think he means bitter, but I congratulate Mike for all the heroic catches he made for us. Absolutely. Remember that Thursday night catch against Atlanta, or who could forget that touchdown against the Packers to get the Bucs to the Super Bowl? That was incredible. Yep. The Pittman loss, that does sting. Olive, it could be worse. It could be the Giants. Sure. Our guy, Buck for life, has jokes. Could Hendrickson play safety? Plus, on Mike Evans going to San Fran, as Joey alluded to, it could be to win, but is it really? You look at San Fran's offense. Purdy missed time last year.
Yeah.
McCaffrey actually didn't miss time, which to me isn't great for him this year, because that probably means if you look at his career, he will miss time. Ricky Purcell can't stay on the field. Jawan Jennings couldn't stay on the field. George Kittle couldn't stay on the field. Tonjes even missed games. Their backup tight end, Trent Williams, is now maybe going to get traded. They're dangling him. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk isn't going to be on that football team.
Yeah.
As great as the Niners seem, and it seems like a what-if conundrum at this point, could they stay healthy? Do you think that was the best fit for Mike Evans? Because he's a guy who missed 9 games last year as well. If he misses some time, that fan base could surely turn on him rather quickly. Not hoping that happens, obviously. I hope he does well. But just saying, say if Purcell's injured, say if Kittle's hurt, they're relying on Evans, he goes down, that could get ugly in San Fran.
Yeah, I think with Mike, I think obviously the draw of Kyle Shanahan and the way he's able to scheme up offenses the way he's able to utilize his top guy and find ways to get him the football. So they're going to do, I think, a really good job of scheming Mike open, regardless of what's around him. But again, if they are all healthy, you have a very good mix with George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. You got a good enough offensive line, and Brock Purdy is accurate enough to get him the football. So I think it's going to be a different variation of how they utilize him in comparison to what we've seen with Mike. But I think it will be, there's always going to be that risk, wherever you go. If he chooses a different situation, there's always a risk for it to not pan out. And I think that's what you have to look at when you look at these free agents and what they're signing for and what you're getting. You have to evaluate the risk versus the reward. And I think Mike Evans, based on his consistency overall with his career, obviously the Niners felt like this is a good bet. It's a guy that can be a true X receiver in that offense and do well for them. So I see it as a high floor move. I think there will be, obviously questions just seeing how that chemistry plays out with Brock Purdy, new team, everything. So there'll probably be an adjustment period, but I am intrigued to see how it does turn out. But going back more so to what, Zach was talking about, I think Joey was talking about it as well, like the overall state of the Bucs. Obviously Mike I don't think he was confident enough in what the direction of the team was. And I think really it's tough because everything went wrong last year. I mean, everything that could go wrong went wrong pretty much last year for the Bucs. I mean, it started off great,
and even for Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we found a way to get to 5-1, 6-2, and you're like, okay, maybe we can make this work if we find a way to get more healthy, but things just continued to fall apart. The offensive line couldn't stay healthy. And then on top of that, you had an inexperienced offensive coordinator. And Mike, I think, just didn't feel confident enough in the direction with Todd Bowles staying as head coach. And also the constant change at OC, I think, also played a part. And also it's a credit to the receiver room. I think it's something that you have to point out as far as Mike didn't have to say anything about the Bucs receiver room. And for him to mention that not only once, but twice and several times, he even said it in December. He knows he's leaving this room in good hands. So I think that plays a factor into it. And like I said, a legacy is a big part of his game. He wants to be in the top 10 of receivers all time statistically. And I think he feels that can happen in San Francisco.
Pops text into the show, Plus is the man. And to reiterate also what you're saying, Pop says, Plus is the man. I think that once we lost to Atlanta and he threw his helmet down and said like 3rd and 28, that was it. Also, all the losing, something was off in the culture. So maybe it was time for him. Also, his miscommunication in Panthers game to lose on the interception. That's a good point as well. Him and Baker were on a different page. And just a sad thing to see. We do have a couple big signings that just broke in here. Rashid Shaheed back to Seattle, 3 years, $51 million. That looks like. So I think that's pretty good value for Seattle there. Given the free agent contracts for today, I think Rashid Shaheed could have probably done better on the open market, but he's like, let me run it back in Seattle, pay higher taxes. Who cares? I'm going to win. Kenny Pickett to Carolina as well to back up Bryce Young. So to me, that's a really good move for Carolina. The NFC South really active today. Zach, quickly, and then we'll get to Joey. Then we'll let Plus close out because I know he's got till 6:30. Thoughts on what Plus said, Zach? Thoughts on if you think San Fran was the best scenario for Evans? I think probably the Chargers would have been the best case scenario for him, I think. But San Fran ain't a bad one. As Joey said, Kansas City, if you really want to win. Thoughts on the Mike Evans scenario as a whole?
Well, I think we kept hearing all this chatter about Mike and his legacy, and he wants to get into the top 10 of the receivers, so he has a better case to make the Hall of Fame faster. So I think when you look at that aspect of it, San Fran makes a lot of sense because Shanahan's offense is so successful. You have a very strong running game with CMC there. If Kittle comes back healthy, you got Pearsall. I mean, so there are some pieces there that make it viable, but I think Shanahan is the key, right? He's an established play caller. He's got consistency within that offense, unlike McDaniel, who just is now he's going to be trying to create something in LA, whereas it's already existing in San Francisco. And Mike doesn't have enough time left to really be a part of creating something. He just wants to be plug and play, get 1,400 yards for a couple years, 5 to 15 more touchdowns, and really get himself into that top 10. So to me, San Fran made the most sense, especially when you look at the financial. It definitely, now if LA would have came with the paper as well, then then you can make that argument. But San Fran didn't overpay by any stretch. Not when you consider Pierce started the day off at 29 a season. So it makes sense to me because of the established legacy play caller that Shanahan is.
I just think an injured guy into an injured locker room is dangerous. I really do. And that could end very ugly very quickly for Mike over there. And one thing's for certain, Mike chose to leave. And yeah, whether he did or not, whether it's for winning or what, he chose to leave. Guys who haven't, Rondé Barber, Levante David. This isn't a Warren Sapp or John Lynch situation. They didn't want to leave. They kind of got the boot. And as much as we love Mike Evans, and he'll still forever be remembered in Tampa. Great legacy, don't get me wrong. But it ain't going to be a Rondé Barber. It ain't going to be a Levante David legacy. Those guys chose to stay. Rondé chose to stay through a lot of bad stuff, right? I mean, when Gruden got canned, look where it went. Raheem Morris, then Greg Schiano he played for. Rondé could have got out. He didn't. Levante stuck through a lot of crud. His only option is returning to the Bucs. Will Golston, yeah, that's another great one, bud. Great job there. So, as much as I love Mike, Joey, and the Colts have had it before with legends as well. Again, wasn't Manning's choice to leave, right? But some of the other Colts who ended up choosing to leave, you still love him forever, but it ain't quite the same as a lifer. And Mike Evans now sadly won't be a lifer by the choice of his own.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm an Andrew Luck fan, and he's a quitter at the end of the day, and I can admit that proudly. It's just a fact. I mean, we also gave him millions of dollars to walk out the door, so I love that guy, what he did for us, but I won't sugarcoat it where it's not needed. Mike Evans, yeah, I mean, like Tom Brady, look, he's still a Patriot. He won a Super Bowl with the Bucs, but that's still a Patriot. Whatever him and Bill didn't get along goes there. Evans is having a tail end to his career now here, where hey. Like Zach did say, I mean, Shanahan, plus we'll probably break it down more. He knows the film, but Shanahan does all that great scheming and devising. So if he can stay healthy, they definitely needed that there, even though San Fran at times offensively worked really well with Purdy last year, sometimes not so much, like the playoff game. So can't blame him. He can do what he wants. That's what free agency's for. I'll never blame a man for doing that as so. And
it's a business.
It's a business at the end of the day, and we all see our greats walk out the door. Nothing sadly lasts forever, and in today's NFL, Mike Evans stayed a hell of a lot longer than most players do in their teams because the NFL is slowly turning into the NBA in the sense where players just want out and get to pick where they go more often than they used to even just 5 years ago.
And just weird because after the Bucs signed him last time, they put out that whole Bucs for life email, and they really dropped the ball on that.
Well, he said it himself. He said, you could see yourself retiring in one uniform, blah, blah, blah. So something between then and now, something has changed. And that's what the catalyst is.
And if Levante returns, that's even going to throw a bigger wrench in the conundrum of confusion to me. If one legend returns for Todd Bowles and one legend leaves because of Todd Bowles, that's going to be really confusing to me. Plus, I know you got to go shortly. So thoughts on the Bucs additions quickly today. Kenneth Gainwell, 2 years, $14 million, 1,000-yard back for Pittsburgh last year. Zach, I'm looking forward to get your thoughts on him later because you're familiar with Pittsburgh as well. Anzalone, one guy I really wanted from Detroit, mentioned him in the spaces yesterday, 2 years, $17 million. really help shore up that linebacker coop. Cade Otton, $10 million a year, 3 years, $30 million, could be pretty much broken down to 2 for $20. It sounds like at day's end. But thoughts on those Bucs coming, Jamel Dean going, and the Bucs day overall before you head out, and give us a plug for your show. I know you'll be going live at the top of the hour as well.
Yeah, I mean, getting Cade Otton, I didn't expect it. I was thinking Mike and Cade were going to be gone. I was kind of leaning towards, okay, they're going to put massive resources into the defense. I know people have, I'll mention quickly, I know people have talked about Trey Hendrickson. Right now, the price is just ridiculous. So,
I mean, Kwity Paye got what, $16 million a year?
yeah. So unless Trey Hendrickson's price comes down significantly, because right now it looks like he's asking 35 million plus, and Bucs are not going to pay that. So just kind of a waiting game for him. But as far as the moves made, I really like it. I think Cade Otton is very underrated. He got a below market value deal for 10 million. So to be able to get him back for that price, I thought was excellent. He's tight end one. He will always be tight end one. And when I'm watching the Bucs, I love him. I love his game, blocking, catching, just solid player. Kenneth Gainwell, same thing in that regard. Gainwell is very solid all around back. I think he provides upside in the passing game, obviously with his production. And I think to get him, he was the surprise signing. I didn't expect them to, spend $7 million on a running back, but I think adding a good football player like that's a welcome addition, and you can use him and Bucky Irving in that rocket type of backfield, pony personnel with 21, and get those guys out in the field. So I think that'll be fun. And then Alex Anzalone did a film study on him up on the channel, up on our Substack. He is, I think, a good comparison. He's Cade Otton, but at linebacker. Like, he's just solid.
And they had that play this year.
Yeah.
Where Otton caught it, then fumbled. Yeah. That was those two.
He's just an overall good football player. Brings veteran leadership, brings tenacity. He has a house here in Tampa, so it made a lot of sense that he came here. Went to Florida in college, and I think he's a good fit. I think he's that natural will linebacker for our defense. He can provide coverage, and now you're going to go into the draft probably looking for someone that can bring a little bit more as far as being that physical playmaker in the box. And you can use Anzalone as your matchup type player that can do some coverage things. He had 9 pass breakups last year. So that just shows you kind of get that a little bit more diversity in the linebacker room. But overall, I like it so far. We'll see if they can add some pass rushers. Hopefully get an edge rusher and an interior defense lineman, I think, is their next priorities. But yeah, this was fun, guys. I really appreciate the time. Be sure to check us out at Real Bucs Talk on YouTube, and also our Substack is rolling as we're going to continue our draft coverage and try to get more stuff out here, and free agent. We'll definitely dive into the film of these signings and let you guys know all about it. But thank you all. It was fun talking about this. I know it's kind of a bitter but exciting day because of Mike Evans. And I know a lot of fans are up in their emotions right now, but I appreciate the time.
Yeah, just one last bold prediction before you leave us. Plus, as we said, and we were, all of us, besides Zach, but I got a bobblehead for him still. All of us were at Evans' last game and got those OG Mike bobbleheads. But plus, one last prediction before you bounce out. Who is the next Buck to be a new Buck, whether it's free agency or trade? Who do you see the Bucs targeting next?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Or position, even if it's not a certain player.
I'll go with someone that I have been talking about a lot, and that's Sebastian Joseph Day, the interior defensive lineman. But again, this market is crazy. I mean, guys getting $8 million a year. So
the Raiders or Titans will probably give him $30 million a season on average.
Like I said, if I could be an agent for any of these guys, I would gladly take 1%. It's crazy what they're making. So yeah, I'll go with Sebastian Joseph Day, and we'll see what happens at the edge position. But yeah, I think interior defensive line is a sneaky need because you got Vita Vea coming up in contract. So you got to add more pieces there.
Yeah, and Cansey, you also got to decide on his fifth-year option. I think they'll pick it up, but you never know on that. The great Michael Plus of Real Bucs Talk, he'll be live at the top of the hour over there. Everybody go follow them. Plus, we love you, buddy. Take care.
All right, guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks,
You
Plus.
too, brother. The great Plus. Zach, thoughts on Gainwell? You being a Steelers guy with your nephew, obviously Gainwell ran behind him last year. And real quick, Evans can't wear 13 now. He was photoshopped into number 3. I don't know if that's official, but unless Brock Purdy gives up 13, I think we retired 13 eventually. I don't think we do it this year or anything like that, but he will be in the Ring of Honor. He will be in the Hall of Fame. His number probably will be retired. Zach, thoughts on all that, on Gainwell, on Otten, and on Blonde Jesus?
Yeah, well, it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was kind of a loaded question.
That's all right. I don't know what jersey Evans is going to wear, but it's not going to look right regardless. I'm going to wish him well. And the nice thing about San Fran games is they're usually the 4:00 games, so we'll still get to see a lot of Mike. But I don't know what number he'll take. I mean, he wore 13 in college and 13 in the pros, so you might have to go back to high school or peewee football to see another number that he was in. So I don't know what he could do over there. I think 3 is currently being worn by Brian Robinson Jr., so if he doesn't come back, then 3 would be open, I think. So I guess that's a possibility. 1 is taken with Pearsall, so wouldn't be that. Gainwell, I can tell you the sentiment up this way was shock that they let him go. They really like him in Pittsburgh, and they thought they were going to bring him back. So the fact that he got out of the building was pretty shocking. He's shifty. He's a great pass catching back. So I mean, between him and Bucky, we probably got 2 of the better pass catching backs in the NFL now. He is pretty decent between the tackles, which is pretty phenomenal considering his size and stature. My only concern is pass blocking. We lost Rashad, which is probably top 5 pass blocking back in the league, and we bring in Gainwell. And if we re-sign Tucker, I don't know, where we're going to be at pass blocking wise. So that's a little bit concerning. Love the Anzalone signing. I love that dude. I've loved him ever since he played in Miami. He's just, I'm going to use the Detroit word, so forgive me. He's real gritty, man. He just does the job. He might be a second late sometimes, but he's always around the ball. He's got a nose for making plays, and he's tough as hell, man. Like you saw, he broke his forearm last season, basically stitched it up, rubbed some dirt on it, and got back in the game. He said, if you're going to be a dog, then you got to be prepared to do some dog shit. And that's the kind of attitude that I want on my defense. So I love that. I have an up and down relationship with Cade Otton. There's times where I'm like, damn, look at that. He's legit top 5 tight end in the NFL. And then the next play, he hands the ball to a defender and they run it in for a touchdown. So yeah, so it's up and down. I think it's a good value signing. Also, it means that we don't really have to draft a tight end, which is good because we can focus on another position. So I'm okay with it. It also, to me, I don't know for you, but it was the catalyst of me realizing at that moment that Mike Evans was gone as soon as that signing came through. So that'll be the memory that sticks with me for that. But one last thing, and I'll pass it back to you. We're worried about Levante, but there's another guy that's a friend of mine, friend of the program, and I'm really hoping that we see him back in red and pewter with his blocking ability and the special teams value that he offers. I really am hoping that we get Coe back. Coe Keeft is such an integral part of what we do on special teams and in the run game. So to me, he's very valuable, and I hope we get him back. And I don't know if my heart can take losing Mike, Coe, and then if Levante retires all on the same day, I might just have to move to Iceland and never watch the ball again. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, a lot before we get Joey's thoughts on that and keep going, as we do have a lot of football, Bucs news, and so much more. A couple things, Zach. Yesterday I was on Spaces with JCL and Luke Easterling and a lot of other Bucs reporters and content creators. That was a great time. we had a round table. We were all asked one guy you would really hope the Bucs bring back in free agency. I said Keith as well. I said between special teams, blocking ability. I think Caleb Skinner, a couple other guys agreed with me too. So that was good to see. Definitely agree. The K. Dot news, I couldn't agree more because I said on yesterday's show I was still 94% confident that Evans would come back. And as soon as that Otten news popped through, that was the first time I started shifting, Zach. I actually tweeted, could mean Mike is gone. So that right there kind of made it snap in my head that Mike is gone. I love our favorite Canadian, Pepin Steppen, but going to disagree with you, Pepin. He actually had 10 carries for 92 yards against the Bears, 13 carries for 80 yards against Miami, 9 carries for 50 yards against Detroit. Those are all very, very hefty yards per carry ratios right there. Then in terms of receptions, he had 73 catches on the season, which is very good for a running back, including 7 catches for 81 yards November 16th, 5 catches for 78 yards December 21st, and 8 catches for 64 yards January 4th. And he also has a Super Bowl win with Philadelphia Eagles under his belt as well. So I disagree on Gainwell. I respect your take, and we'll see who's right on that. But I think Gainwell is a good move, although I do think the price is steep for a backup running back, but we'll see on that. I think it's going to be more of a running back by committee than people think this year. Tucker could still come back, undrafted free agent or draft picks are possible. He wore 4 for basketball, talking about Mike Evans. We'll see there. Richard, not so happy Monday, fellas. We'll see. Maybe Trey Hendrickson could turn the vibe around, right? Probably unlikely at this point, but we'll see. For the price for Cade, great signing. Joey, thoughts on the rest of the Bucs moves between Anzalone? I know you're a Gainwell fan. Cade Otten returning, Jamel Dean departing.
Yeah, I mean, it's day one. It's hard to obviously sum it all up, but outside of Mike Evans doing some pretty good things, like I said, the Otten contract's really not that much, even in the grand scheme of things to me, with a 1 year. So that's not to worry if things don't go fully well. Hope for Zach's case that people are back that he wants, so he's not moving countries on us. That's also would be nice. And then on top of all that, I'll keep hammering it home, waiting to see what happens with pass rushers, because Plus talked about it a little bit with overpays happening. Both of our teams need a front line guy for sacks. So everyone, of course, goes to Trey Hendrickson now that Crosby's off the board. Where will he fall? A lot of Dallas Cowboys rumors early. Who knows where it's at by tomorrow? But still guys out there that can make a difference. But it's getting, I mean, draft you could always do, but sometimes it's not always year one where those guys pop off. So keeping an eye on that closely.
Couldn't agree more. And this is another good point, fellas, by our guy Bob, Joey and I's buddy Robert. Hope all is well, brother. Cade Otten was a great blocking tight end last year. Zach, he really had to kind of shift his role once Keith went out. A lot of this O-line went up. So quick thoughts on that, Zach. That's a really good point. I do agree with that there. Although I agree with you, too, that Otten was kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde last year. I do agree his role kind of had to change given the circumstances.
Well, our mind tends to go right to the bad plays. We don't remember any of the good stuff, right? And a lot of folks don't watch the blocking when they're watching football, right? They watch where the ball goes, so they don't actually see what kind of happens to get the ball into that position. So people remember Cade handing the ball to Anzalone or a drop here and there to, and that's what they hold on in their mind, and that's why they hate him so much. They have that, but they don't look at all the stuff they do. When you put his numbers up there, in totality, he's definitely a top 10 all around tight end. You could probably make an argument for top 5, if you really get into the weeds of it. So I think overall it's a good signing, and, you need somebody reliable in the middle. That's a good outlet. And I think Cade is that, the whole gloves versus non-gloves thing. I think that's just such a tired, weak, low hanging fruit narrative. If the guy's been playing football his whole life with no gloves, why do you think he's going to be more comfortable with them on than with them off? I don't really get that argument. I don't know. I think Cade, like I said, I think Cade's solid. It's just people remember that play. They remember the last game of the year where he had 12 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown, and no one's talking about that game. We talk about the one where he hands the ball over. So, It is what it is. Like I said, I think if we get Coe back, our tight end room is pretty set with what we have. I think we've got a lot of good, disparity there, a lot of variances and different styles. I'd still like to see if Culp can do something. He's shown flashes, but he's just kind of, third or fourth guy on the list. But I think he's solid. Maybe now with Mike off the field, there's an opportunity for that. Maybe, I don't know. So we'll see. But just real quick, you're looking at Hendrickson left, Chubb left, Bosa left, Chason left, Muhammad, Clowney, Edabike, and Cam Jordan. And like I said earlier, if we sign Cam Jordan, I'm going to drink bleach.
Man,
you're moving countries.
Yeah. I've had a day, fellas, and I'm drawing lines in the sand that aren't healthy. So please don't let these things happen.
We're going to have to cancel the bleach output in West Virginia because we can't afford to lose Zach. Or maybe that's the only way we can keep Zach. I don't know, because he might be another country bound soon. We're going to talk about the Phillips move to Carolina, ETN to the Saints. Really weird day for the NFC South. A lot of movement. Saints lost some guys, added some guys. Carolina lost some guys, added some guys. Atlanta playing weird ball. We came onto the show, and it was a Raider Haven show. They got Nakobe Dean. They got Malcolm Kuntz. And now the Cardinals are – who else, Zach, again?
Quay Walker.
Yep, that's another one. Now, Cardinals, it's the Cardinal takeover. They just signed offensive lineman Isaac Samalo to a 3-year, $32 million deal. Before we came on, they signed Gardner Minshew, and now the Cardinals also signed Lions defensive lineman Roy Lopez to a 2-year, $11.5 million deal. So the Cardinals are trying to replicate what the Raiders did. News continues to pour in here all throughout the NFL, Joey. The Colts had some news over the past couple days. Trading Zaire Franklin, getting an interior D lineman, signing a kicker back to the team, bringing in Alec Pierce again, trading Michael Pittman. Thoughts on what the Indianapolis Colts did today? Is our guy Bob like to drink bleach comment?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it's been a good 48 hours, considering all the stories last week of how, Pierce will hit the open market, which he did. Teams offered more money like New England and Washington, but he liked it here a lot. So no matter what anybody says about Alec Pierce, he's one of the most explosive players in the NFL. If you look at the catches to yards ratio, he's easily one of the best deep threats in the NFL. So he was one of the few free agents. Mike Evans, was right after that, and 49ers scooped it quickly. So there's not the wide receivers kind of really name recognition wise. Once Evans was off, there's still a plethora of receivers, but not more in that top tier category. So I love that we got him back. Essentially, it's 2 years, 60. I do hate losing Pittman, but Michael Pittman was going to make $29 million this year. And you can't have two receivers making both $29 million. Ask Cincinnati how that's working out when you pay two top end receivers, and that their top two are better than our top two were. So you can't have that in the room. So it makes sense there. He goes to Pittsburgh and then signs up for 3 for $60. And I would say I would be 98% shocked if by Wednesday at this time, with pigskins and pile drivers, if Daniel Jones doesn't have the long-term deal with Indianapolis. They transition to, he's going to realize very quickly. Albert Breer had a report today up to $50 million his agent wanted. You're not going to get that. The Sam Darnold deal, we offered 3 for $100. It's more in that range. You still have a lot of moving quarterbacks out there like Kyler Murray, who will be cheaper. So I'm pretty happy where things are at. We did sign a couple of defensive linemen, but I still want the big name on defense. We need a game changer. We're going to need a linebacker and a pass rusher. So I like what we've done offensively. The Colts brought their pillars back: Jones, Taylor, Pierce, and Warren. That's their 4 guys they're going to be leaning on. So defensively now we need to see how they fill the linebacker room. But everyone forgets about the Mike linebacker calling plays. It's not just about running around the field. That's a tough thing to do and lead a defense, and then pass rusher. So that's offense is great. Looks good to me. I need to see now what we do on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, good stuff there. And Joey, a little breaking news, quick thoughts. Your division foes making a big splash at safety. Former Eagle Reed Blankenship, 3 years, 24.5 million with Houston. Their kind of first big move, it seems like, of free agency.
Yeah, Texans have made a few interesting things happen. This is definitely a good move. They already have a great defense. So I get more concerned when I see what will they do offensively to help out Stroud, because that defense under
Good point. They did get Montgomery too. Yeah.
Yeah, that helped. That was to me a big one there. But also Reed, I mean, making a great defense even greater on that end. And Jaguars been quiet. Titans have done a decent amount. So it's been an interesting day for all divisions, all teams. But Houston's the cream of the crop until otherwise, in my book, for the AFC South.
Yeah, El Monito joining us on Facebook Live. We appreciate that. Others are joining us over there as well. Mr. H texting into the show. Great show. We appreciate it. Mr. H, Zach, kind of to piggyback. I know I'm bouncing around, but out of all the edges you named earlier, obviously I'd want Hendrickson. I just don't want Muhammad or Cam Jordan on that list. Nothing against. I mean, not that everyone's a needle mover on that list, but at least Jadeveon Clowney provides a spark in a name. At least some of a guy like Bosa led the league in forced fumbles last year. Not that they quite quench the thirst, but, better than nothing against Muhammad. He's more of a run stuffer. And Cam Jordan, he's just, a Buck hater. But, Zach, who else on that list kind of tickles your fancy in the edge department for the Bucs? If you had to get one guy, let's pretend like Trey Hendrickson is off the board. Would you explore a trade for Greenard, or would you kind of go for one of those cats?
Well, I'm not in the Greenard camp. I'm not sold on that dude. So free agent wise, it would be Chason. I think he's kind of like in that like upper 20s as far as his age range. So you still got a little bit of tread on the tires. Plus, he had a solid season for the Patriots. So I like him. Bosa, if the money's right, but based on what we're seeing.
We have breaking news. All-pro linebacker Quincy Williams to the Browns, 2 years, $17 million.
Man, there are no linebackers left.
Jeez.
So Bosa, if the money's right, Hendrickson is obviously the belle of the ball there. I'd still wouldn't mind sending a 4th round pick to the Giants for Thibodeau, even though I know his contract is up the same time Yaya's is. But to me, that just pushes both of those dudes to play harder. So I think that's a good thing. But yeah, those would be my kind of takes on that. And then I'm really hoping that Chenal from KC finds his way to Tampa. I think that would be good. And then if we can get one more linebacker in the draft, that room would be set, regardless if Levante comes back or not.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think whether it's draft or free agency, whether Levante comes back or not, they'll add one more linebacker as well. I think it'll be Anzalone, Dennis, hopefully Levante, and then either free agent or a draft guy. And that would be pretty solid. I'd be fine with that, right? If they have Anzalone, Levante, they get another free agent / draft a guy. And if Dennis is linebacker 4, I'd feel a lot more confident with that than I have the past couple of years going in with Britt or Dennis as linebacker 2. Those are scary times. If Levante's linebacker 2 suddenly, I know he had a downplay last year, but that would be great, as Bucs fans could at least brace him. Dez says the fact that the starting edges are Nelly and Yaya Light needs to go all in on the defense. I guarantee you Nelly will not be the starting edge week 1. I guarantee you one way or another he will not be, whether it's free agent or draft. I think the Bucs will add 2 edge rushers. I really do. Joey, thoughts on who the Colts might target next year?
I mean, I'm looking at the same list in terms of defensive ends and linebackers drying up now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you got Arden Key as well. That was a good little under the radar.
Good rotational player. I like him. If he's in your rotation, that's great. We need to make him move better than that. And again, I'm looking at the same people as Zach. I do kind of like Chason because he's improved each year in the NFL in terms of sacks. And last year he did play a vital role for New England. Bosa depends, like you said, on the money. I mean, there's some veterans out there, whether it be, linebacker, DN, or receiver, I don't mind. Their name goes further than the money I'd give them, though. But I really am I'm going to keep a close eye on that pass rush because really, to me, I liked about the first four guys, as Zach mentioned, but then it gets a little bit thin after that. Like, I'm not big. El-Kadim Muhammad's been a Colt before. Cam Jordan, I don't know. He's kind of an interesting fellow, but I like the first four names that Zach mentioned. We'll go from there. So there's still going to be a lot of trades, that could happen too. This isn't done. So we got to get our defense right under Lou Anarumo. This is the first year that he could really get more of his players in the building, especially as you mentioned with Zaire leaving the Mike linebacker. He didn't really fit his scheme. So I'm really focused at edge and linebacker, as I feel like our D tackles and back four with corners and safeties are pretty much fine. I really look at linebacker and pass rush.
Yeah, Cardinals staying hot. Man, they're just striking the iron. Titans, Raiders, Cardinals just throwing money around. Kendrick Bourne signing with the Cardinals 2 years, $12 million. So another wide receiver gone. Just crazy. A lot of these guys getting paid pretty handsomely in the wide receiver department. We'll see what happens elsewhere. Hendrickson this offseason is a total failure. Don't be a bargain shopper. Light. Starting to hear a lot of that. Zach, do you think that's fair for Jason Light if he doesn't get Hendrickson to face some criticism on the edge?
Well, I don't know about Hendrickson per se, but we definitely have to address the edge.
I'm with you.
Yeah, we can't lose Mike and not address the edge in the same offseason. And, we've talked about this on this show. The draft is such a crapshoot with if a guy's going to work out or not. And, I'm not confident, and I will die on this hill, that Bowles' scheme is not great for developing edge rushers. He never has. Shaq came in and surpassed everybody's expectations. No one saw 19 and a half sacks coming from Shaq when we signed him. I think he succeeded despite the scheme, but Bowles' scheme it relies on interior pressure and these exotic blitzes. So I don't know that drafting, somebody like Hal in the first round is really going to fix it because I don't really have a lot of faith that there's going to be a lot of development there to make him any better. So getting a guy that already knows how to rush the passer, I think, is vital. You get somebody in here like a Hendrickson, like a Chason, Chubb. I'm not real high on Chubb either. The injuries and then the both knees, I think, kind of scare me. But I don't think you just leave it to the draft. So you have to address the edge in this offseason with an impact player. You can't just grab somebody off that list and be like, oh, we got an edge rusher. It's got to be somebody that can make an impact. And Bucs fans are starving for it to be a splash player after losing Evans. So another thing, so if Levante announces in the next couple of days that he retires, man, it's not going to be good for Bucs Twitter. Handling Mike and Levante in the same offseason is going to be rough.
And Gene Deckeroff and Tom Moore, the hits just kept coming for some Bucs fans. Yeah, and as Zach said, Hendrickson ideal, but you still have some playmakers out there besides him. Once again, Bosa led the NFL in forced fumbles last year, and his D-line coach is with the Buccaneers right now, so that's a name to watch out there. You obviously have some other effective guys. Jadeveon Clowney had 8.5 sacks last year, so he still has some in the tank. Chason helped the Patriots do a great season, so there's still names available. Not that I'm a big Greenard guy either, but at least he's had double-digit sacks a couple times. Not saying the Bucs are going to trade up draft capital for him, but we shall see. The Bears get their left tackle back, Braxton Jones, on a 1-year, $10 million contract. So that'll make Bears fans happy. Look he's had at the edge through work with 2 busts that came out, Braswell. And I don't think Diaby's a bust necessarily. I don't think he's been as great as he could be. But for a 3rd-round pick, I don't think he's a bust. Braswell I could agree with, but to me the verdict is out on Yaya Diaby. Fellas, we're going to go over some other news and notes and big moves from around the league today as well, and we're going to keep you up to the date with big news here too. Joey, we'll start with you. Rashawn Gary kind of started the day off getting traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a late round pick. Thoughts on the Packers and Cowboys kind of swapping edge rushers these past couple of seasons?
I mean, yeah, Dallas. I mean, at least they've been making moves since they lost Parsons. I don't know if it's all the right ones, but they've sure been trying to revamp what they had going there, and it seems some swapping going on. Packers have made some moves. They knew they weren't getting their linebacker back, who just got signed, so that's why they went for Zaire. And then they have Parsons coming back off with the injury. So a lot of tongue swapping between those teams back and forth, and we'll see what happens. But still so many more moves to be made. It's going to be a fun one.
Zach, I see you have to leave, brother. Safe travels. Hope all is well. Give your quick thoughts. Sorry. Hope all is well with you, my friend.
Yeah, no,
Good
thanks,
luck.
guys. I appreciate it. I'll catch up with you, fellas.
Good luck, Zach.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks again, the great Zach. Joey will be here for a couple more minutes talking all things NFL free agency here as Zach joined us, plus joined us. And now it's just the two of us here.
I didn't even realize and not to cut you off, but on the 4-Letter Network online page, under the tab, they even have free agency as its own category now. That's how big this shit's gotten with having its own tabs and all that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it keeps escalating every year. Now trades are involved, something that used to not be a big thing. And then the legal tampering period, remember? So just crazy checkpoints along the way. Joey, thoughts on Tua Tagovailoa joining Atlanta, giving them an all-lefty quarterback room in the NFC South?
I think it's actually a fine move. It's not expensive. You already have a lefty in Penix, so you kind of – it sounds stupid, but having two lefties in the room, it's not as much of an adjustment there. And you have them compete kind of like Jones and Richardson did last year, and the better man gets up and plays. If Tua starts and he has an injury, you have Penix, who's very young and has not much injury risk there, as much at least as Tua. And then vice versa, if Penix starts, Tua can come in. So I actually think that's a fine move for Atlanta. As they're obviously losing Kirk Cousins. So I don't mind it. It's not like they went out and way overpaid.
Yeah, some other big news and notes from today from around the National Football League. A lot of musical chairs going on. Saints brought in Noah Fant on a 2-year deal. The Raiders, Tyler Lindenbaum, 3 years, $81 million. Jalen Naylor, 3 years, $35 million. Quiddy paid 3 years, $48 million. Re-signed Eric Stokes, 3 years, $30 million. Traded with Buffalo for Teron Johnson. So that was interesting over there. Just crazy stuff. The Commanders signed DN Odafe Owe, 4 years, $100 million. Boy Mafe went to the Bengals, 3 years, $60 million. Some fun names doing things there. The Packers releasing 2-time Pro Bowl guard center Elton Jenkins. I'm sorry. Hawk Tua or Bok Tua, says Richard T. Yes, good stuff there, Richard. Joey, one of the big ones from earlier. Titans signed a pair of D-backs. Alante Taylor, 3 years, $60 million. Cordell Flott, 3 years, $45 million. Not that PFF gospel, but these guys were ranked 45th and 53rd cornerbacks, respectively, in the NFL last year. A lot of money the Titans are throwing around.
Yeah, I mean, and it does make sense. They have new leadership. They have new coaching. So they need to, create some refills of many things. Their defense, no matter who they sign, I know one thing, Robert Saleh will coach that up in the right way. We've seen it in San Fran twice. Jets, I don't put too much shade on him there, as a lot is wrong with that organization. But they're trying to put their stamp of approval on things. And, Cam Ward in the offense might take a little time with Dable. You got to, get him going, and then obviously everything around it. But defensively, they could be stable right away under Saleh. Even if I see them as overpaying, I do love the move of Bobby Okereke. He's a great linebacker that the Giants let go, underrated, and can help them in the middle.
The Chargers are signing former Ravens tight end Charlie Kohler, one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL, 3 years, $24.3 million. They also brought in Dolphins fullback Alec Ingold, so they're looking to beef up their run game in Charger land. The Giants signing Tremont Edmonds, 3 years, $36 million, former Bears Pro Bowl linebacker over there. Titans also brought in John Franklin Myers. Browns signed guard Zion Johnson, 3 years, $49.5 million. Bears signed Browns linebacker Devin Bush, 3 years, $30 million deal. What are Bears fans' thoughts on that, Joey, and your thoughts on that ad for the Bears?
The Bears definitely like the move of Kobe Bryant today. Rest in peace to the legend, but we all know the Seattle guy by now after.
That'd be funny if they signed the Bucs O-lineman Michael Jordan too, and then they get Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan in the same offseason.
Yeah, I mean, they probably like the Braxton Jones move just as much as the Michael Jordan, so there's not much on it there. You might as well. But in terms of the Bears, they, have made several moves today. I like Bush at linebacker. He's a hybrid. Like I mentioned, Kobe Bryant already. So they're always looking for a big splash since they have Caleb Williams on that rookie contract, which is important to spend money and do big things while you have a franchise QB who's going to get paid next offseason pretty hefty by Chicago. So they're looking to make a lot of moves, and we'll see what they do to vamp it up. They've made some today on the defensive side of the ball, mostly Nevin Gallimore, ex-Colt as well, got a couple-year deal from them. He was a nice player. So they've been doing some things, but they haven't had their heavy hit move yet, which the fans are really expecting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As Bud says, Hawk 2 on the Penix. Whoa! Well, Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson gets overpaid by Tennessee, but they kind of had to do it, right? Travis Etienne to the Saints, Joey, Jalen Phillips to the Panthers. Thoughts on those three moves scattered across our division foes?
Who besides Phillips, you say?
Also, we were talking about the
Saints. Phillips wise is, that's a hefty. I'll start with him before you fill me in on that. I just think that's a big deal. I wouldn't have done that per se, even though I did like him as a player. A little too rich for my blood. That's why I'm almost thinking if it's not Hendrickson that everybody wants, including our two teams, you go maybe for the veteran where you can give less of a contract.
Couldn't agree more. Etienne to the Saints, Wan'Dale to the Titans. Couple of weapons on the move.
Wait a minute. I lost that. Etienne went to the Saints?
Yep.
I know Etienne left and won the division. Why did I not think? I think that's a great move for the Saints. Alvin Kamara is a total jag.
I heard he might retire, but if not, maybe Denver with Sean Payton.
He should retire unless he gets that move, but I was like, I'll take a light flyer on him last year. He just sucked. That's done. Etienne's underrated. I think that will actually work out for Kellen Moore and the Saints pretty well.
Other news and notes, the Titans overpaid on Daniel Bellinger, 3 years, $24 million at tight end. Falcons brought in 41-year-old Nick Folk to be their kicker. Lions signed Cade Mays, former Panthers center, 3 years, $25 million. Their Commanders inked Lions cornerback Amik Robertson, 2 years, $16 million over there. Falcons reunite with Austin Hooper, 1 year, $3.25 million. Giants pay punter Jordan Stout, 3 years, $12.3 million. Patriots bring in fullback Reggie Gillum, 3-year deal as well. Joey, Jets signed Demario Davis, 14-year NFL veteran, 2 years, $22 million. And the Titans bring in Mitch Trubisky. Jets bringing in Kingsley and Gabre, 1 year, $10 million. Thoughts on any of those deals?
The Jets need to figure out the quarterback position, obviously. I like the Demario Davis. He's a good player. I'm sure the teams are happy to see him out of the division in the South there. He was one of the few Saints Warriors left. But, after everything we're going through and looking at, Giants seem to be pretty heavy on the moves today. It all starts with
Isaiah Likely again, too, they brought in.
Yeah, Harbaugh there, even though they have the young guys in Scadaboo and obviously the Ole Miss quarterback who I'm blanking on right now, with them too. Yeah, so with them two, you think it's going to be a slow roll, not so fast with Harbaugh. So we'll see what goes on there. But I do like the Chiefs move, even though Kenneth Walker, I get it, people will say overpaid. They needed a consistent back there for years. It was getting like the Patriots in the back in the day where it's like a few guys chip it in, but everyone kind of seemed to let them down in that backfield. And then one thing we're not really talking about, the New England Patriots, they let go Diggs. They need a receiver. They were huge into Alec Pierce, so are the Commanders, but the top end guys are gone unless you're going to make a trade, which I get it, and I said it on a few shows now. Trades are going to be hot and heavy. Intrigued to see how New England tries to take the top off because after the Super Bowl, we all know how their offense kind of fell. So a lot of interesting moves, a lot of big deals. Raiders totally overpaid for many things. I mean, I get it. They got a return for Crosby, but between the center, I love pay from McCall. I'm glad he got paid, but I guess you got to compete in the division at the end of the day, right? And you're not going to do it by not spending money. But these teams like the Cardinals, Raiders, Dolphins, giving Malik Willis, we'll see. That's a lot of money tied up in Miami's room now too, even though they let Tua go. So all these teams making a lot of moves, but at the end of the day, will it be the right ones?
Yeah, I always say, Joey, the free agent stars of today are the cap casualties of tomorrow. We see that often in the NFL. And Joey, another thing, a lot of the verbiage, 3 years, 4 years, you got to look at the underlying guaranteed number. That's what's more important because past guarantees, nothing's guaranteed. Couple more moves to talk about before we hop out. Jets.
And one thing to add to you before I go through more players and start to forget them, because I do want to hear you got left. You're totally right on that. For example, the agent and the people breaking the news are usually going to say, like the Colts defensive end we signed today from Tennessee, 2 for 20. It's 2 for 11. After that, yes, it can bloom into 20 eventually, but don't look at what the main tweet always comes out. Make sure you see guaranteed money because a lot of the times the deal is actually about half to maybe 2/3 tones of what they really are.
Yep. So, again, K-Dot in 2, he signed 3 for 30, but 20 is guaranteed. So essentially he's at a 2 for 20. And then you see if he plays up to it and, you could cut him after that.
Oh, I said that wrong then. I thought he was 1 for 12 earlier. My apologies on that.
I thought he was going to be a $12 million tight end. So to me, the $10 million is a pretty good price tag. And that's the beauty of living in Florida, though, right? 12 million elsewhere equates to 10 million Florida state taxes. So there you go. The Jets signed and former Falcons D tackle David Onyemata, 1 year, $10.5 million. I do like what the Jets did today. Jahan Dotson to the Falcons, 2 years, $15 million. That's an overpay to me. The Saints signed guard David Edwards from the Bills, 4 years, $61 million. The ETN details to the Saints. They paid him a lot, 4 years, $52 million. To me, that's a lot for a guy like Travis Etienne, although he is a pretty good running back. The Cardinals got Tyler Algier, 2 years, $12 million. Malik Willis to the Dolphins, Joey. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, first one is I just sent the tweet to you guys too and the family and friends, but it did make me laugh seeing being a Colts fan that Minshew and Jacoby are their two guys fighting right now. But going to your main one with Malik Willis, obviously there's some connection there. Look, I will say this. I think Malik Willis is an overpay, but he's come a long way from being in Tennessee where he got drafted and then left there, as we know, to go to Green Bay. He beat the Colts actually once with LaFleur helping him running that there. So I give him a lot of credit for what he has been able to do because, hey, maybe a lot of people out there won't respect that, but it's a good move, at least for his career. We'll see how it works out in Miami in total.
Agreed. And he followed the Packers DC there, Jeff Halfley.
Yeah.
He's their head coach. So that was a fit made in heaven. Malik Willis, pretty good QB class in free agency, but he probably led the way. Maybe 49ers got Mike Evans because the Rams got Trent McDuffie. They also got cornerback Jalen Watson to a 3-year deal from the Chiefs today. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, 3 years, $45 million, Super Bowl MVP. Thoughts on that move for Kansas City, Joey? They've never really had a great running back and also Patriots get D lineman Draymond Jones, 3-year deal, $39 million, former Raven, settling there.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I think that's a great move for the Chiefs because they've always had the hodgepodge of running backs lately, and Pacheco can't stay healthy. Kareem Hunt is over the hill. CH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, never really made the overall difference that they thought. So I like that for Kenneth Walker himself and the team. And then also the Rams, you could tell with Matthew Stafford kind of being in his last run here of the last maybe year or 2 years of his career, they're really going for it and plugging in on the defense. I'm totally worried if I'm an NFC, team about the Rams because they could easily be in the Super Bowl next year. They won it obviously a few years back, but led by McVay with the signings they've made, they're going to be a team that really, to me, steps up.
Yeah, a couple other news and notes from around the league today. Olamide Zaccheaus back to Atlanta, former Bears wide receiver, heading back there. The Steelers re-signed linebacker Cole Holcomb, 2-year, $5 million deal over there. Minka Fitzpatrick traded to the Jets, Joey, 3-year, $40 million deal there. Aaron Glenn is trying to kind of retool, restack that defense over there. Texans re-sign guard Ed Ingram to 3-year, $37.5 million contract. Vikings re-sign linebacker Eric Wilson to 3-year, $22.5 million contract. The Broncos re-signed quarterback Sam Ellinger as well to be their QB3, maybe back up over there. We'll see what happens. But that is about that. A lot to do. Titans signed center Austin Schlottman. I mean,
There's
the moves
so
go
much.
on and on, Joey. It'd be nearly impossible to try and cover them all. The Giants are expected to sign Ravens cornerback Darius Washington to a 1-year deal over there as well. So, Joey, the news keep coming in. Harbaugh between Likely and Washington poaching a couple of his former players, seems like.
And don't forget, fans out there, for those that aren't overly familiar, Wednesday, of course, the new league window opens. So all these moves being made now, they become official on Wednesday, most of them.
There have been a couple guys to retract before.
Yeah, and weird things have happened before. So it's never over till it's over until we get to hey, Mrs. H, as we get to
Mrs. H.
Yes, sir. So I just laughed at one I saw online. Wendy's and former Raiders quarterback Geno Smith agreed a 4-year deal. So that kind of made me laugh a little bit. But there's so many
he
things.
He got mad and tweeted back at Wendy's. He tweeted at Wendy's, like, get your cheese right or something like that. He got so salty. It was like, come on, dude. They're kidding around.
Yeah, and the last note I'll say is there's so much movement for the people who sign a lot of players, the Giants, Cardinals, other teams, Raiders. Read into the guys you get and see what they're about. YouTube, you could find a lot of clips other ways. But just because you win the offseason today or tomorrow, the next day, does not mean you win in September. It's great to get a lot of big names do big things, but we got to see, obviously, how it all plays out. So when people give grades after your offseason, if you're one of the team that gets an A or an F, don't be joyful or hurt yourself over it emotionally. Just see what happens when the actual season comes up. If you're a team out there and you've signed a lot of people, be happy about it. If you're a Raiders, Cardinals, or fan, don't let shows like us or others, maybe say, yeah, overpay. Yeah, we think that, but hey, your teams are making moves too, so embrace it. Everyone's got to start somewhere. Every team's active this year round, just some more than others, but Bucs, Colts, and the whole damn line that Tones named about 100 probably players today. So it's fun. It's interesting. It opens up officially on Wednesday, and for your team, be happy with whatever you have done.
Between tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday, the moves are going to keep coming because, Joey, some teams still keep quiet. Some players keep quiet. Teams keep quiet till Wednesday. Tonight, I expect a flurry of moves tomorrow as well. That's why we got you guys covered. The next show will be Wednesday, March 11th, 6 o'clock Eastern. Pigskin and Pile Drivers pretty much will be an all-football show, again, celebrating the NFL New Year as that is officially the league New Year's, Joey said. Then Monday, a week from tonight, we'll be back 7 o'clock Eastern with Gene, Joey, and the gang. Gene will be back in the fold running the show. That'll be a lot of fun. Then our Saturday shows return March 21st, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, recapping the World Baseball Classic, talking March Madness, continuing NFL talk, and so much more. Oh boy, we got a loaded schedule remaining here. Next 12 days, still got 3 big shows. Remember, Wednesday, 6 o'clock Eastern, the next big one here on the Buccateers, Pigskin, and Pile Drivers. Steelers signing running back Rico Dowdle, Joey. The moves don't stop.
They don't stop, but I actually even saw a report earlier. Steelers were kind of washing around the Tyson Bagent idea from Chicago. It looks like Rodgers is obviously back there, but who knows? Steelers have made some moves today. I mean, we've seen the Michael Pittman trade being one of them. And like you said, by Wednesday, we're going to have a flurry of more news. Every minute that passes is crazy. I know it's not for the show, but every March Madness tournament happens this week, every conference, and then it leads us up to Sunday with the brackets. We got the players for golf this weekend. There's so much good shit out there that outside of our Pigskin and Pile Drivers, we have so much going on besides wrestling, UFC, football, and more. So it's a great time. But we set the clocks up. The sun's out longer. It's warmer today. I'm going to take every positive I can into this week and really embrace everything we got going, my man.
Yeah, as long as we got sports, life is good. Life is always good. Crazy sports week and time coming up, as Joey alluded to. Once again, Bucs fans, just because we lost Mike Evans today, time heals all. It'll never be the same in Tampa, but we've had some sad stuff happen before and recovered. Warren Sapp, John Lynch, others. Jaguars are releasing veteran tight end Johnny Munt. Once again, the moves never stop. Joey, final word for the show before we're back Wednesday.
I'm going to put it out there that, hey, it was a great UFC weekend. Shout out to my guy Cody Rhodes for taking home the WWE title. And Alec Pierce, a little sad for the people out there, on catches over 16-plus yards, which is explosive catches. He ranked 5th in the NFL. It went JSN, St. Brown, Puka, and Pickens. Pretty good list to be on. I'm a happy man. I can't wait to see y'all Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to be great Wednesday. New year, new league. Great chat tonight as well. Marianne, Richard T, Bud Cannibalist, Olivia, everybody else, Dave Zesterman. Man, just a great chat in the house. Joey, myself, Bucks by 30. Michael Pless of Real Bucks Talk. Let me make sure no other news broke quick in the minute between now and then. Before
it's always possible.
Yeah, because you never know. Nope, seems like Rico Dowdle signing and Johnny Munt release and are the brunt of that. But Joey, we will have a ton more to talk about on Wednesday, brothers. See you then. A lot more sports talk to come. Colts getting Alec Pierce back, Groupie back, a D lineman. I want to talk more about the D lineman they got on Wednesday as well. I think he was a good one, underrated in the trade with Zaire Franklin, signing Ardon Key. The Bucs bringing in Gainwell. The Bucs bringing in Blonde Jesus, re-signing Kate Otten. Jamel Dean and Mike Evans leaves. It is a sad day. But we are the Buccateers. Time heals all. We'll be back on Wednesday, 6 Eastern. Fire the damn cannons for the shoe. We'll be back. We'll put it like that. What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But, to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just that, "Hey, this is so cool." I mean, that was so cool for us. Yeah, catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like, he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's just so cool to see. And it's just, it was fun to watch. And yeah, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory. What a memory to have, right? So,
And honestly,
cool.
those one of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Gonna put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like he got a little.
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, hey, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Gruden, once he took over Rich McCann, I'm still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then kind of make us do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers at wide receiver, Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we